What up? It's T. Vincent, Miss Dean. And we just pulled up on Route 8 Podcast, man. We got the legendary. Oh, man. Man, this guy that made the hood classics. I mean, oh, my goodness. I mean, this is the new Spike Lee. I mean, I'm telling y'all, man, we talking to Spike Lee right now. I just don't know it.
New because he's seasoned, baby.
Yeah, seasoned. Okay, John Singletary. Well, yeah. Man, this dude is in the game. I mean, this is my man. This man, I watch all his movies. We love him. Man, the dude is an amazing actor, amazing director. But, man, we got him in the building. What's up? How you doing today? Go and tell me your name.
Hey, man, look, this your main man, T Miles, man, a.k.a. T Millions, Mr. Make It Happen.
Right, and he makes it happen, man.
What's up?
Man,
It's
it's
good
good
How
to
you
have
doing
you.
today, man? How you doing today?
Oh, man, it's a truly a blessing, man. It's definitely a blessing.
Right,
That's
man.
all that matters. So I guess we just gonna jump in.
Man, you've been breaking down barriers, man. You've been doing stuff that most people can't do. You know what I mean? So we're going to have to give you flowers, man, right now. I mean, you coming out of D.C., man. You making these classic movies. You've been A&R'ing. You've been acting. I mean, you know, how did it start off? What a young T Miles look like?
Man, you know what? I mean, as far as this entertainment business, a lot of people really don't know unless it's people that's coming out of D.C. I started in the comedy business. And, I mean, pretty much, I didn't really know how to really get into the industry the way I wanted to get into it because I at the time I couldn't sing and I couldn't rap. So I always try to figure out a way I could do it. And there was only two ways I could do it. And that was either comedy or porn.
So, wait. So you strategically embedded yourself in the comedy?
Yep. I actually did it like that. And I really want to be a comedy promoter. And like I say, a lot of people know my story, you know, doing 10 years in the federal system and coming out, I wanted a whole new game plan. And I didn't want to go back to where I used to. So this entertainment world was something that I pursued. And like I said, I ended up doing comedy. And I was doing the stand-up. I was doing it for a while, but I only did the stand-up because I wanted to cut management and booking agents out. So by me becoming a comedian, it allowed me to get closer to the comics, to where I got their phone numbers, and I would come do their spots, and they would come do my spots. So now I didn't have to go through the management or a booking agency, and it worked out because pretty much.
So you were being creative on how to be more independent and control more of your destiny for real. And what you want.
Exactly. And I mean, like I say, I just planned it out real strategically, and it worked out well to where, you know, I ended up being good friends with Kevin Hart, Mike Epps, and a lot of other great ones that was coming up at the time.
Right.
So wait, because I want to know about this, because you kind of briefly talked about how you were in jail, and I kind of read up on you a little bit about how you were kind of like a troubled teen in and out of the system. What were some of the things that you feel like sparked that? Like, what drew that negative side out of you? You feel like growing up in DC or Maryland? What kind of?
I mean, we're pretty much coming up in Southeast DC at the time. I mean, you got to think we talking like, you know, like the early 80s, and I mean, it was crazy. And you know, everybody know the African Americans stories coming up in a household with no mother. And hey, stop. Sorry about that, y'all. Coming up in a household with no father, but a mother and a sister, you know, living in a 2-bedroom apartment. I mean, at the time, coming up in the 80s, I mean, when you go outside as a youngster, we go outside and look up at the dudes on the corner. So when we look up at the dudes on the corner, that was the father figures. I mean, it was a whole different ball game to where it is today. I mean, the guys on the corner back then, they was making sure the young generation didn't have to do the things that they was doing out there. So they gave us the money and they gave us the long talks about, you know, what you should be doing with your life and only like me. But you got to also understand, to someone like myself, I was fascinated about it. Like, man, I want to be like you. I don't care what you say. I want to be like you.
Right.
So, you know, that's how it all led to certain situations. And I just always been the kind of dude to where I wasn't the one who, if everybody was selling drugs and doing this, I found another way and a different way to make a way different than what everybody else was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it wasn't you being a follower. It was more like you were just more like a victim to your environment, honestly. It was
Right.
what was going on around you.
Right.
Right. And
Go ahead.
I just wanted to be the young man in my house to help my mother, being as though I was the only male figure in the house. I just wanted to be that one because I seen how my mother was struggling. Then after my mother caught cancer, I mean, I was like, man, I can't sit back and just allow certain things to happen. So I actually went out in the streets and I just took another turn than what everybody else was doing. When everybody was selling narcotics, I was just masterminding to doing the cars and taking the cars straight off the car dealerships and going and selling to other car dealerships.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Hustling by any means.
That's crazy.
And I would like to know, like, how do you feel like that shaped you as a person and helped you in this career? Everything you've been through, from prison to even being in and out of the system, young, dealing with certain people, being put in adverse situations. How do you feel like that shaped you as the man you are now?
It's crazy. This may sound. I tell a lot of people a lot of times that because they say, man, if you had a chance, what would you do? I probably wouldn't do nothing. I probably would want to go through the same things that I went through back then, because to be honest with you, it helped me to be who I am today. Because the generation that's going on today, man, I mean, they so lost of what's going on out here. It's dangerous to be lost right now. And right now, my eyes are so open to what's going on. I look at me going through prison was a real college degree that I got, because I learned so much about life and how to deal with people, to where it protects me a whole lot.
And it's crazy you said that too, because I always go off a reference when me and my husband, when we before we got married, we used to work in a factory, and I felt like I had learned so much from working in this factory than I have learned in any successful position, because you're dealing with different people. You're learning how to talk to people, and people rough. Some people rougher than others. Some people, all these different personalities. And I must say, like, that was one of the toughest experience for me, but it taught me so much. It taught me so much game. So I can definitely relate.
Yeah. I mean, it truly did. It showed me a whole lot. And like I say, how to deal with life, how to deal with people. The only downfall that I may say that I run into a lot, and me even discussing it with my fiance, is just that sometimes, to a degree, I don't really know how to talk to people. And I mean, come off, because I'm an aggressive guy. And as though the kind of situation in my life, what I've been through, it made me aggressive. And I don't mean no harm. It's just that that's how I come off. You know what I'm saying?
I'll call it the Dame Dash effect. Because, people always take David Dash wrong, but he don't mean no harm. But he just get taken wrong because he's so aggressive.
Right. I'm just so aggressive. But the crazy part, how it also works in my favor, is the way I speak. When I talk to someone, they feel me because I speak with passion.
Yeah.
So they kind of feel me when I speak to them. But when it comes to, man, trying to do something else, or trying to be a leader in your household to a certain degree, I have to understand it's a way of a tone that I have to come off.
Sure, for sure. That's facts.
So
that's just out of respect.
How did that work with the comedy, with the aggressive talking? We ain't never had a comic that wanted to, you feel like comic might kick your ass. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, you know what? This is the crazy part about it. I've always been the kind of guy that joked on people at the time. And it worked in my favor, because it allowed me, a lot of people don't understand about the comedy business is that it's different levels. And by me being the kind of comic at the time, it allowed me to be able to work with certain comics who was rowdy. And because a lot of comics don't like to deal with comedy clubs that comedians come on and be so rowdy that when they come on, they don't know how to dial the crowd down. So it allowed me to be able to host and do a lot of comedy shows with some of the greats like AJ Johnson, like, because they get crowds so, because everybody know AJ was the kind of person like, the hell with you bitch. That's how he talk to people in the audience. So, I used to watch that, and a lot of people didn't want to work with certain comics. So that's what allowed me to get a lot of gigs